To order the Board of Mayor and Alderman work session for November the 9th, 2023. First on our agenda, we have public comments. And Dr. Karen Armstrong would like to speak at this time.
She's not alive yet, but she is on her way.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other public comments that would like to speak? Yes, sir, please come forward. And in this public comments, what we do is we give you 2 minutes to state your views. This is not an interaction or a question and answer with the board. It's just to state your views. And my timekeeper back there will let me know when your 2 minutes is up. You can state your name and speak, please.
My name is Dan Owen, and I work with the 4-H program here in Lincoln County. And one of our programs that we have that we offer to kids is a chick chain project. With the chick chain project, the kids can get 12 or 25 baby chickens. They usually get them in April. They raise them up, and then September we'll have a sale and a show that they can participate in. And they get to keep, they bring 3 back if they get 12 to our show and sale, and then they get to keep the rest. To raise, continue raising those, to provide eggs for the family and so forth. But this project is to, for the kids to receive recognition and the growth of their birds. The overall purpose is to provide an avenue to foster life skills that they can learn by keeping an animal. These skills include setting goals, achieving goals, making decisions, and responsibility by taking care of those birds. So the 4-H member agrees to raise them, feed them, take care of them. It's their responsibility. So I would like to see, in the past, we have had city kids that have participated in this project. And this would eliminate that if this was passed. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Anyone else at this time? Yes, sir, you can come forward.
My name is Bruce Steelman. I'm the adult ag agent for University of Tennessee Extension Service. Agriculture is very important to Lincoln County. As far as it's one of the oldest, if not the oldest industry we have in Lincoln County. We're ranked number 1 in the state as far as animal livestock. We're ranked 8th in the state when you're looking at all the livestock. When you look at all the agricultural livestock and commodities these put together. We have a lot of animal livestock just right here in the city limits. You think about the Grosses, you think about United, think about the vet's office. It's a very integral part of the network of the livestock production in Lincoln County. So I'd like you to consider all of this whenever you make your decision. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else? Yes, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. My name's Thomas Burnham. I'm an educator. I do teach at Lincoln County High School. However, I'm kind of here. I'm an agriculture educator. But I'm not the only agriculture education teacher or program within the county. We do have an agriculture education program at the city, and however our campus is located within the city limits. My personal responsibility is I'm an animal science teacher. That includes not only small animals, but also large animals and livestock. As Mr. Steelman stated, this agriculture is a very vital part of our community, whether it be the city or the county collectively. And so we take time to educate students, not only on how to raise animals, but also proper handling techniques, medical techniques, things like that. As of right now, it's a common practice to bring animals on campus so that we can look at them, because for students, some students that may not have that experience at home, for them to have hands-on experiences at school is a vital part of understanding whether or not they want to go into the vet sciences. And for other students that have large animals at home, it is a chance for them to further explore some of the opportunities that they have in order to decide whether or not how they want to pursue their career in the future within the animal industry. And so I would like to express my interest from an educator standpoint of, we have 4 agriculture educators between the 2 schools right now, and this could impact our programs, mine specifically because I am strictly animal science, but also our CD program because I know they have an animal science pathway as well. And so, if students are not allowed to have animals at their homes, because I have students that have projects that have animals that are in the city limits. I mean, we have students that live in the city limits at our school. It takes away an opportunity for them to further explore avenues that are career interests that they may pursue later on.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Seeing no others, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. Board, in your package, you have the work session minutes for October the 5th. Are there any corrections or changes there? Those will stand approved as read or as in your package. Item number 4, there's no action items there. Moving on to the department reports. First up, we have Eddie Plunkett with Public Works Department.
Thank you, Mayor. William D. Jones Bridge is completed. Paving is completed. The only other item is I have a pickup truck, a 96 model GMC that I'd like to have issued as surplus equipment so that we can get rid of it. And this truck will go to a scrap dealer. It won't be sold to be used. Been one we've hauled salt on for about 10 years, and it's rusted plumb into.
So that's a type vehicle that we would not want to put back out on the street.
No.
Are there any questions?
Do we need to vote on that? Is that something that need to be voted on? Carry it to the board then.
Okay, we'll carry that to the Tuesday night. Anything else from Mr. Plunkett?
That's all I have. Just bear with us on the leaves. We had a machine down all week. Hopefully this morning got it back going, so we're doing the best we can on
Got a street light out on Bagley.
it. Sir?
A street light's out on Bagley. You might want to pass on to FPU.
Okay. You know about where?
Yeah.
About the address?
You know, if you go down Bagley on the left-hand side going down, there's a loop that goes around them houses.
Yes, sir.
It's right across from that west end of that loop,
Okay. I'll check on it.
or close to cross.
Next up, we have Chief Pendergraft.
Since Mr. Dow's here, I'm going to go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Good morning.
Morning, Chief.
First off, we anticipate one of our canine dogs we're going to have to retire next year. We think he's going to make it up through the budget cycle that we'll be able to include it in the budget, but either way, canines can come out of the drug fund, so the cost is not going to be a problem. But we do have a grant opportunity to help pay some of the costs of this dog. I'm going to ask Officer Rodriguez if he'll come up and brief y'all on the grant.
Morning. I know I gave some of y'all the packet. USPCA and AKC will partner and provide up to $7,500 toward the purchase of the dog if we commit to $2,500. I spoke with our vendors. It's an average cost of $10,000 for the dog without training. So we would be well within our grant window. Speaking to some of the board members, USPCA, the 2023 grant, of course, is gone. All money was spent. They purchased 250 dogs that year. So we're trying to get on the 2024 agenda to get that money. If it is awarded, it'll be sent to the department. We are under no obligation to spend it as fast as it comes in. We have a window to buy that dog.
So you're just asking for permission to move on?
Yes, sir.
Nothing else, no funding or nothing right now, just
No, sir.
to move on?
The only thing we have to do is sign a letter that says we will commit to that other $2,500.
And Andy, can you explain the more training a dog has, the more expensive? Because you said it was $30,000 for.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So.
We normally purchase a
Up to
green
30.
dog, and then Madison County has partnered with us in the years past. They provide our training, certification for the dog and the handler free of charge.
But you do have to sign a commitment for the $2,500.
Yes, sir.
Is that in the police budget already? That $2,500?
But it can come out of the drug fund. We believe the dog is gonna make it to next year's budget.
That's our
We can't
plan.
guarantee you that, but we believe it.
Okay.
This animal's having issues now?
Yes, ma'am. We're currently working with Fayetteville Animal Clinic. The dog is getting 2 shots a week for arthritis, which is becoming costly. I mean, the further he degrades with the arthritis, the more costly it'll be to keep him in service.
That would be 2 dogs. That would be number 2, right? We have 2 total.
Yes, sir, that's correct. It'd be replacing the dog that's fixing to turn 8.
I guess this is a question I have for Chief, we can step Randy. Once we do, if this does pass, are we going to utilize these dogs next year? Or I'm hoping I'm seeing on manpower, number 2 is coming up about recruitment and retention as high as it is right now. Are we going to be able to utilize these dogs like they're supposed to be utilizing?
That's our plan. That's our plan, and we'll get into that here in a few minutes. Actually, they did.
I mean, I love the canine officers, like the dogs, but I mean, I think it's really a waste to see the dogs not being utilized like they should be. Running them like they should be running them, working like they're working instead of, one shift, day shift, second shift. Because I mean, these dogs sleep and eat, and they're their kids. They're your partner.
Well, and, I think he was touching on it. We just completed a large-scale search. We have some other operations that we're planning, but those things are in planning and can't be discussed right now. So
We'll discuss them with you one-on-one, but we can't do it in a.
I got you. Understood.
But yeah, the dogs are being utilized. The guys are doing an outstanding job keeping them up, keeping them trained, and keeping their abilities to the top that we can get them. And all this is permission to apply for the grant. It's not going to lock us down to anything until time for award.
And this will be Rev that'll be replaced, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Second, manpower retention. As y'all know, we've had several recent resignations. People going to other departments. Right now, we have 5 open slots. I've given each of you a copy of the current manpower chart. We have 5 current openings. We're going to have one more tomorrow. Guy's working his last day tomorrow. It'll take us to 6. The end of the month, we anticipate losing another one to the state, which will be 7. That puts us thin. That puts us very thin. Luckily, we do have canine officers that we can supplement our manpower. Our investigators are supplementing our manpower. The staff and I are supplementing our manpower. The SROs can supplement on the weekends when they're not in the schools. But we are very, very thin. We are reaching out. We are recruiting. Commander Casillas is developing a recruiting team that we're going to start sending to the colleges, to the job fairs, and we'll send them to other departments if we can. We're working on a website upgrade to both the city website and the Facebook page. Lucas is developing for us a quick link that we can click on that to join our force, to go to a recruiting page. He's also trying to develop where we can do an online application. The guys can fill out and girls can fill out their application online, hit a submit button, and it shoots us to the city, the application to the city. Once we get that quick link, then we can start putting that on the websites. We can some of the other departments have put it on the back of their patrol cars. We look at doing that. Links to these sites. And we're going to use the Facebook and the webpage aggressively, along with our recruiting team. We're going to start sending these guys out. We're developing recruitment brochures that will also help with these efforts. We recently held interviews with new applicants. We identified 5 qualified applicants that we're very, very high on. 4 of those are waiting psychological evaluations, and that's kind of a hold up right now, how many they can do at a time. So we're looking for other resources to help supplement the psychological evaluations. One of the guys recently had a psychological evaluation for the department he's at, so we can use that. We have one already approved to go to the academy in January. We can't get any more slots in Toledo for the January class. However, we're looking at the Cleveland Academy. We believe we're going to have several slots that we can get people in there. We have one former officer that's working at another department that's expressed interest in coming back. And a couple of the guys who recently resigned said if the pay comes up that they'll be willing to come back. So, but with the guys going to the academy, we're looking at probably 16 weeks of time for that. They got a 12-week academy, then we've got about 4 weeks. We got to put them with another officer for field training before we can get them alone on the street. So it is a lengthy process. The officers that remain with us are willing to work their overtime. They've adjusted their shifts. They've adjusted their home life to cover so the citizens of this town don't suffer. We're not going to leave these people without the protection that they deserve. We're not going to leave these officers without the support and the backup that they deserve. And the staff and I are already scheduled to work shifts, so we're all pitching in to make this effort successful till we get over this hump and we get these guys back on the street. Morale, we've had 3 all-hand meetings. The first was mine. We've had 2 with Mr. Owens. One last night, as a matter of fact. Very, very successful meetings. We identified a lot of factors that we can work on. The 4 main topics: communication, and that's communication between my office and the line level. It's communication between this building and the line level, and we're working hard to solve those problems. Trust, and that's do they have the support up here at the line level? Pay's the big one, guys. Pay's the big one. And we are working on the things that we can solve on our level. My staff and I meet on this regularly, and we are going to fix the things that we can fix at our level, and we're going to push your guys to fix the things that's got to be fixed at your level. Any questions?
Chief, you said something about trust on your level. It's also go behind the desk as well, because I've talked to you and I've talked to Evans, I've talked to a lot of officers. And when you're saying trust, guys, and I'm talking all of us back here, a lot of their things of trust was they don't believe, and I'm speaking for what they have said, is the city as us. They don't trust us. They don't trust city workers. I think they feel left out. There's a lot of things that they would love to come and talk to and sit down with people, and I just think a lot of them said that they really just don't think we care about them. And I do personally. I think all of us do care. We just don't make the accolades they deserve on a daily basis. But no, that is a step forward. Another thing we had talked to Kevin about, I spoke to Kevin, is starting small things like their overtime. and I think Kevin's gonna straighten that out. Did you discuss about their pay?
We talked with them.
I think that needs to be done ASAP. I think they deserve their pay, their overtime pay, when they get paid every 2 weeks, they deserve it instead of a monthly basis. They work it, and I think they deserve it.
We've taken steps to resolve that. We had a meeting with the.
And that's some of them around, not getting their money
Administration
faster.
staff.
But I understand that, I mean, our generation, yeah, we get paid when we get paid, I guess. But I mean, they want their money now, and I think they deserve it.
I agree.
Chief, I'd like to say something. I'd like to say, first of all, I want to apologize to the guys. I want to apologize to Andy Coben. I also want to apologize to people on the board here. When that budget came out, I made a beeline toward all my friends on the police department because they're my family, they're my brothers, they're my sisters. It's what I work with them more than I work with these guys up here. So I made a phone call and I said, hey, this is what you're going to be getting. This is what you're going to be doing. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. And I think I made the mistake. And, I'm man enough to know when I make a mistake. I made a mistake and I did wrong. That was my bad. And I know that some of them were like, well, Jacob, you told us this was what we were going to get. And I said, well, unfortunately, it's not how it's fallen. But I'm 100% with Roger on the fact that they do need to pay on their overtime with their 2 weeks. Because, like you said, I had the privilege and the honor of talking to 3 officers last night. And, they're, like you said, it's a trust thing. And I want them to trust us because I know I trust them every single day. So, I think that we need to get the pay up and we need to get more people out back on the street because doing the job that they love. And I love what they said last night. They don't want to be a part of the problem. They want to be a part of the solution. And that spoke a lot of character to me. So
it does. Listen, we've got some fine police. We do. I've worked for several departments. These officers are on par with the officers in Huntsville by they're equal. They may not have the resources that Huntsville has, but the quality of man and woman is there. I'm very proud of them. And you weren't the only one that was discussing the issues with the officers. And the officers know you believed what you were telling them. And from what I saw of the plan that was submitted, it would have addressed some of these things. And unfortunately, it didn't go through like everybody thought it was going to. So everybody knows that the effort was there, but it didn't go through. And don't think for a minute there's hard feelings against any of you. It's just like you said, it's a trust thing. But we're working to resolve that.
Good deal.
And I think we've made great steps. We're going to keep trudging along, and we're going to get through.
Here in the envelope, all the work sessions, the meetings, what was agreed to in the work sessions, what didn't happen, what got voted down, got every bit of it right here. They've got a reason to be concerned. Now, I was not a part of voting down all this. I did everything I could to keep that up. I did everything I could. There's another one on here that did everything too that could. But if you go back and look at the minutes, and I've got the minutes on the work sessions, I've got the minutes on the board minutes and all right here, and I'm not going to bring them out and start today. I'm not going to do it. It's very questionable the way a lot of this went on. Very questionable. I didn't like it at the time. I made it clear I didn't like it. I made it very clear that all we are, the way we're set up right now with the police department, we're a training outfit for everybody else. We're just training officers to run them through. All of that was made clear. But the bottom line is this, whether I liked it or not, this is how this thing went down as a vote. The budget has been set. This year's coming budget has already been set. And that's just how it is. It got set there. All this stuff kept getting pushed down. It almost got pushed down 3%. We're lucky we got to 5. The 6.5 got voted completely down. Got voted down. So what do you expect these employees to think? I mean, what do we expect of them? That was all warned ahead of time. We had a salary survey that got trashed. I'm gonna guarantee you, if that survey were done over again, it'd be the same thing. It got trashed. It just got trashed. So we on the funding side is on the board. On the morale side and all, on whatever's going on internally, that's on somebody else. And I stay out of the internal stuff, try to. You know. But the bottom line is, you know, and I hope it, I don't know what kind of answer somebody's looking for here. The budget for the coming year has already been set. So anything that's done financially before next year is going to be funded. It's going to be funded. It's not there. It's not there right now. It's going to be funded. But that ship has done sailed. I don't, you know, the way that all of this happened, I don't blame employees for being somewhat disturbed. So I went back and I had all the minutes pulled because I wanted to refresh my mind on exactly how all this happened. And I've got most of them here, the ones that was recorded. But, you know, I'm the biggest advocate that's ever been on this board for employee, probably, salaries, and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed every way I could. But what happened with this process is it got pushed down, got pushed down, got pushed down, got pushed down. So I think the ones that kept pushing it down needs to come up with an answer. That's where I'm at. That's exactly where I'm at. The ones that kept pushing all of this down, and did not address this, being told all the time, this is what's going to happen. Bending to the pressure of some of the public. Voting things down that should have been voted on. Promising to support certain amounts and caving on it. You know, that's the problem with this part of it. And I've just decided I'm just going to put it out there, and that's how I feel. So any funding that has to come about to try to address some of these issues, I'm not exactly sure how it's going to come about, and I don't know how it's going to come about in the next budget cycle, to tell you the truth, because we done missed a vote on this tax increase. I know people was somewhat upset with me because I felt like we needed to address these issues more strongly. I knew the public wasn't going to like it necessarily. But we've got firemen out here making $13 an hour. Police officers out here with uniforms on getting shot at and run over lately. 2 of them got run over lately with the kind of salaries that we've been paying. And some of the reasons was, well, we can't compete with this town. We can't compete with that. We are competing with those towns. You know, the fact saying that we can't compete, that's who we're competing with. You know, and bottom line, that's just how it is. Now, internally, I'm not too sure that internally there's not some problems internally. I don't know much about what goes on over there because I try to stay out of employee issues. I really do. But if there's problems at the top, you will never solve the problems at the bottom till you solve the problems at the top. Mr. City Administrator, that's just how it is. That's just how it is. If there's problems at the top internally, you will never solve the problems until you solve those problems.
I would like to say that on that salary study, it actually wasn't a salary study for Fayetteville. I talked to Mr. Steve Thompson with Burris and Thompson Associates, who provided that salary study, and it was not comparable to our market. It had Pigeon Forge, it had large towns, it wasn't comparable to us. So I think we did a smart thing not using that as our salaries for our budgets because it didn't pertain strictly to us. I do know that Burris and Thompson is currently right now doing a salary study using this firm for Lewisburg. The city administrator has contacted me and asked us to provide information on what our salaries are, our employee salaries across the board, because they're in the same situation that we are. I think every police department in the country is struggling right now, and I hate that for our officers, our firemen, all of our employees. I mean, we're in a different climate that we haven't been in a long time. But we need to get a study that pertains to our market. We can't go on just something that they use for public relations, something that they use to get in these municipalities. That was a media type salary study that they provided us. It wasn't, but the way they're doing it in Lewisburg, they have to come up with 15 cities that are comparable to their city. So,
Police work right now is cutthroat. Hiring policemen right now is cutthroat. And the big cities prey on the small cities. They let us hire these people. They let us get them to the academy. They let us pay the expenses to get them trained. Then they offer them a lot of money, and they save it. And we've thrown all that money away.
You know, what the mayor says makes sense, because I agree with it to an extent. After we went through all of this, and I talked to an employee here, not a policeman or not anybody like that, someone in administration. I mentioned something to him, and I won't say who it was. And I found out that I was probably wrong about something. My thoughts was, and what I kept hearing the public say, some of the public say was, we need to have individual evaluations of each individual, and we need to, and raise their salaries based on whatever it comes out.
Performance.
Well, that makes sense up to a point. But this employee asked me what, and I brought that up a couple of times because I value that employee's opinion. And that employee kind of jarred my memory, thinking there a little bit. And this is what was said. Well, what's going to happen? They didn't disagree. But what's going to happen if we do that, like we're saying, and like the mayor's talking about maybe, we do that, which it needs to be done, no doubt, but then it shows that we need to come up a lot, and the board won't do it. What's that going to do to the morale of the employees? It's going to just kill them. I dropped it. I got to thinking about that because I thought, if I keep pushing this, and I'm bad to push now. I'm not bad to push now. On something I get on, I'm really bad, well, good or bad, whatever. But I thought about that, and I thought, well, if we do that, which it really does need to be done, it honestly does, but and we end up, and we need to come up with $500,000 more a year, and that's about what's going to be, by the way, probably, to bring his salaries up after we've done these honest evaluations and all. If that's how it comes out, I think it probably will come out that way. And if we don't do anything, what kind of message is that going to send to the employees? Well, they're going to be worse than they are now. And I don't have any confidence. I don't have any confidence that after all of that anything's going to happen, because it's got to be funded. And there's only one, the world we're living in now, the only way we're on shoestring, just about a lot of cities. I mean, we're good financially, strong, and we have to stay that way because of state comptrollers and different things. But this is reoccurring expenses that goes on every single year, and you've got to fund it. Then how you going to fund it without another tax increase? And we just had one. The board has backed this board into a corner, in my opinion, when we had a chance to make these issues a whole lot better, and we didn't. But if we want to go ahead and we want to get in these studies and everything, and I think I know that's probably going to come back. I might not, but I think I do. If it comes back to where we would need to come up with a lot more funding to take care of that, then what's going to happen? Are we going to come up with it or not? Is that going to, or is it just going to be another slap in the face to the employees? That's,
I agree with you. And what is the
We missed the
study-
boat.
What's the study gonna cost? I've seen us spend a lot of money on studies, and then we don't do anything about it. So
We had
let's deal
a
with it.
missed opportunity, if you remember, Vice Mayor, at strategic planning. You had figures and you had numbers that we didn't get to discuss
I
in
got shut
strategic
out.
planning.
I'm not
At
going
2
to no more
p.m. At
strategic
2
plans
p.m.
like
we
that.
were out of there.
Right.
Had we had the information, this study that you're talking about, this salary study that didn't pertain particularly to Fayetteville, we could have heard about that. We got it when we started budget talks.
I got
I'm
shut
not
out.
copying out anything that about what the employees need, because all of us want them to receive what they have, but we could have started this at strategic planning. You
It's right here in this-
have to have
it's
a
right here.
revenue stream,
It's right here in
and that
there.
revenue stream was
That's
not
right.
there.
That's right. It's right here where it should have been discussed in strategic planning.
Exactly.
We got shut out. We got pushed down. I didn't get a chance to say anything during the last 3 minutes before the lunch or whatever. None of my issues I was ever able to get them on the floor. And I ain't going to the mold like that.
So we
I'm
have
not gonna be treated like that
We
no more.
have to look now of how we're going to fix this, and it starts. Actually, did you speak with anyone who has turned in their resignation and already gone?
Yes.
The plans that you had, other than money, what were the other issues? I mean, you already stated those 4 issues there. Did you implement any plans during that time that they were about to leave to retain them?
We tried several things to try to talk these guys into staying. And they all understand the budget has to be there. They all understand the political process that y'all had to go through. But they also understand every 2 weeks they pay their bills and they ain't got no money left. And
Everyone.
that's their concern.
And it's not only that, I'm sorry, Kevin.
Oh, and I was going to say, if I could address the last question by Alderwoman Small, the exit interviews, we have not allowed the chief to be in. It's been primarily
Okay.
human resources as well as
But you
myself.
had them.
We have, and I do plan to address their process and where we are when I do my report.
But I don't think it needs, I'm glad you're doing the exit interview. I think Ms. Dorothy was saying that there should be an exit interview with the chief before it even comes to you, before we even lose them. But saying that is, when we did this pay, we gave a certain percent, and I think a lot of the officers, and I spoke to several officers in the last 3 or 4 days, and I think it's got to do with how they were paid. Some coming in right out of the academy getting paid just more somebody's been here 10 or 15 years. That's not right, and y'all know that. And that's what gets them upset. That's no different than you firemen coming in getting paid more than somebody above them. That's not right. How they get paid, I have no idea where that come from or how that started. And you got people that are very grateful for what they get paid, but they'll tell you, God, it's not right how I get paid. I'm not griping about it. I love it, but I'm getting paid. There's people here they spent their whole lives in this city, fighting for the city, and not quit this department. They may have quit for a year or 2 and come back, but guess where they're at in that city building back here working every day, hours and hours. And it's not right what they're getting paid. And I've said it over and I'll say it over and over again, but it starts from the chief to you and to us as well, but we've got to straighten it out. And it's not fair how they're getting paid at all. And I've said it over and over and over, and that's city, fire, and everything. Police department.
Well, I will go on to say as well, when information is gotten from the employees are encouraged to talk to their immediate supervisors and on up the chain.
Mm-hmm.
If the information doesn't get to the board, there's nothing we can do but act on what we learn from what we're told. So that communication thing has to go from the bottom all the way up to here as well, so we can act. But we also have to act within budget restraints.
And there's a lot of misinformation being slung around here. There really is. There's a whole lot of misinformation being
Seems to be a lot of that going around everywhere, misinformation all over.
Yeah. And I encouraged my guys in the meeting last night. You've got a chain of command. Let's follow it. Let's make sure that the stories that are getting uptown are the right stories, because we're getting mixed information. If you want something taken to them, come tell me what your concern is and I'll take it to them. We'll make sure it's the right thing and they're not getting 5 or 10 different stories. Told them they're welcome. If you ask them something, they're to answer the question. They all know that. They're welcome to speak to you anytime. We don't have secrets, but, well, other than criminal secrets, but they're welcome to speak to y'all anytime. But I encourage them to make sure what they're telling you is what they know, not what they've heard.
Well, we do try, at least I try not to interfere in departmental personnel issues. But if there are issues that's going to cause a whole police department to shut down, that information has to reach the board. When you have 2 people that come and go, there's a swinging door in a lot of these departments that come and go. But when it becomes 3 and over, that information has to come to the work session when things like that hit and be told to the board.
Correct? Totally agree. Totally agree. And let me express my frustration here a little bit, okay? There has been a large number of officers who have been called and questioned, even by some members of this board. But not one of you has called me. Roger called me once about a personnel issue, and we discussed that, and I think we got that worked out. But not one of you has called and said, why are these people leaving? I'm one of the easiest people to get a hold of. I've got 2 cell phones. I've got an office phone. I've got email. If you got questions, guys, I want to work with y'all to solve this, because a large part of this y'all are going to have to solve. The parts I can do, I'm going to do, but I want to work with you to solve the rest of this stuff.
And if I can, as far as the strategies on how we move on, I got that in my report. I would rather address that under my report if that's acceptable.
Well, I think that's better. Anything to do direct with the employees doesn't need to be aired out necessarily, other than just general, no names or nothing like that. But now, I'll tell you this right now, Chief, I ain't calling nobody. I'm not calling any of your employees.
I understand.
I'm not calling none of them. I had one call me about a simple thing. It wasn't a very big deal, and I passed it on to Kevin. I worked through the city administrator. That's where I work through, to my very best. That's how I try to work. So you can leave me out of that part of it. I've had nothing to do with that.
No problem.
But
I ain't mentioning
I try to work
names.
through the city administrator, because city administrator is over employee issues. And I will say it one more time, because I think it's very important. If there's problems at the top in that department, it's got to be fixed. If there's problems at the top, if they're there, if you don't fix those problems, nothing's going to happen, because nobody's going to have any confidence in anybody to talk to. That's what's going to end up happening more likely. That's just my thoughts.
I want to say that too. Employee issues are Kevin's issue, not this board's. We don't need to be interfering in y'all's stuff going on. That's the way I feel. If Kevin brings it to us, that's when it becomes our issue. I hate to hear that your people don't trust us. I don't know what was promised by other people. It was not done by me. We tried to be as fair as we could to both the citizens and our employees. We did 5% raises instead of 2 or 3 like we usually do. Took a lot of hits from the community just for what we did with the budget we came up with. So I think we tried to be as fair as we could. I think that study on the salaries was a joke. There were 70% increases in that in places, and that was not for our community. So I just want to put that out there too.
Thank you.
And I'm not advocating for the studies. They are good to give you information. It needs to be comparable to our community, like I said. But it is also, that's what it is, a study. And yes, it's going to be higher. But, we have to work within the means, the money that we have, and we have to distribute it to a lot of different venues and people and departments and everything. So, no, if we did a study, it's about $30,000 for this firm to do it. I'm not advocating any of that. But what I am saying is, you're still not, that's just a guideline to go by. It is not the gospel. So just to put that out there, I'm not advocating for that or saying that that's what we would pay, but that's what a study is for. It's goals that you aim toward and try to level your departments. So I think this board worked hard with all of this and the tax increase. trying to get our employees where they should be. But I agree, this needs to be discussed through Mr. Owens, and I try not to get involved at all with employees in your department. Chief, I feel like you're doing a great job. I appreciate you. I appreciate the
Thank you.
officers, and just continue your good work.
Just like I told the guys last night, stick this out, bear with us, we're gonna get this fixed, and that's the same thing I'm saying to y'all. We're gonna get this fixed.
On your overtime, you mentioned the overtime, and I'm off of this other now, but on the overtime, of course, this is a concern I've had for a long time. I know that and we continue to talk about getting more and more and more events. I've got a list of them, I didn't bring it with me, but we got, I don't know how many events we got, 50 something maybe?
At least.
More and more and more. So being short-handed like we are and having to work overtime, of course, you say y'all, some of y'all's filling in to help, which that's good. And working the events, plus all the events we got, plus being short-handed and all, I can see where it does create a problem situation.
It does. And like I said, we've got starting January when these academies start, we've still got a 16-week, a 12-week academy and a month-long field training officer program we've got to go through. So this is about another 4 months we're going to have to suck this up and do it.
So the one in Nashville's pretty well filled up, right?
One in Nashville, we got one slot, and we got an officer free.
Now,
we can't get
anybody. Under Maryville, is that kind of gone away, or?
I'm not familiar with Maryville.
Blount County.
Blount County.
If I may, Blount County is full right now.
They're full.
We don't have the availability to get them in, so we're trying to find the closest, which is Cleveland, get the people in as quick as we can.
So you can't just, and I didn't know this, and you're telling me something new. The open's just not always there then.
Correct.
You can't just send them anytime you want to.
There's a long waiting list to get in police academies.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, Chief, I think the military people here will, Andy Colby and even Mr. Brown over there, we've started a mission, and either they bring us out on a stretcher or we don't survive. So let's attack the mission and execute it and get it done.
I'm with you. I have one event permit. Speaking of events, Bright Lights and Festive Nights on December 1st. This will be from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Stonebridge Park. And this is Christmas music and activities for the public.
Anything else for the chief?
And that's my report.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll move on to the fire department with Chief Kimbrough.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, Tony.
This morning, to start out with, just going to discuss the option for financing for the tower truck. I have here Mr. Vance Hamilton with the USDA who come up, and he's with USDA on some of their financing options and stuff, major stuff there if you need.
Good morning. Thank you all for letting me be here this morning.
Morning, sir.
I've been talking to a chief and giving him some information about our programs through USDA for financing what we call community facilities. And we would certainly be able to finance the truck for the city. And the current interest rate with our program is 3.875%. That rate changes quarterly, so it tracks a bond index, and it can change after the first of the year. It really depends on when the money is actually secured and set aside. And I'm confident we could also put a little bit of a small grant toward this project. $50,000 is what these small kind of equipment grants are capped at. And we can finance it the useful life of the truck. So if it's a new truck, 20 years, and it's a fixed rate. And you get the better of the rate when we close the loan in the future when the truck is delivered, or when we sort of reserve the money for the project. So if we were able to get the money at 3.875%, it could be less, it couldn't be more. So it's sort of capped for your budgeting, it kind of helps you budget. Like I say, it's the loan's amortized on the useful life of the asset. So a new truck would be 20 years, and the chief sort of indicated that they would order the truck and kind of commission it to be being built. So that would take some time, and we'd get the money set aside, and then we would close the loan once the truck's actually delivered to the city. If that sounds like they're going to potentially build it to spec, that's sort of how it sounded. But I just wanted to come this morning and give you some information and kind of let you know what our rates and terms were, and let you know we'd love to work with you on the project, and I'm confident we could get it done, and be glad to answer any questions you might have to fill in the gap or anything like that.
Tell me what your estimate on this truck cost.
I actually got an email yesterday, 2.3 million. It's actually $2,319,655.
So 2.3 million, 3.875 payments for 20 years. How much is that per year?
Payment per year,
165.
165,000.
165. So that's what, that's what we would have to think about budgeting going in.
Correct.
Going in.
Yes.
165,000 a
That'd
year.
be principal and interest.
Principal and interest.
That's not fully equipped.
That is a little bit of equipment. Some equipment will be coming off our current truck. There is a few pieces of equipment that we have to replace as we cut, as like intakes and stuff like that goes on the pump. We do have to replace them as we
So
purchase a new truck.
on a regular, just a regular bond issue like we do all the time, you don't really do a lot of that type on the equipment, do you?
As far as
Just a regular bond issue like we normally do for infrastructure and all. I don't know that we've ever done that.
I don't know that this city's ever done.
I don't know that we've done that for equipment.
Right.
Okay. So this is 20 years.
Yes, sir.
How far out are these orders right now?
He didn't say right now, but it will be like a 2027 engine. So you're still looking at about 42 to 46 months. Could vary just a little bit. Might be just a little bit quicker. Could be a little bit longer.
So in order to get the order in process and all,
We would have to do a resolution, correct, as for them.
The first step really would be a resolution to apply for funding.
And then you said February for y'all to do y'all's side, maybe February before they got their application.
so you need to go to the board to do a resolution, get it started.
And then we would have to start the application, then the application would go to them, and then you're looking at maybe February, March, before they could get.
And we would set the money aside, basically call it obligate the money, and it's sitting there aside reserved for you at that interest rate. And then you would go out and place the order for the truck.
So that is, you can't go over that, but it could go down.
That's correct. When we close the loan in a couple of years, typically when the truck's delivered, the rate could be less, it couldn't be more.
But it won't be no more than that.
That's correct. Unless well, it depends on, if we don't get, the rates could change slightly after January the 1st. So if more than likely the rate would, the application wouldn't be funded until after January the 1st. But I don't think it would change much at all.
But
right
it's
now,
3 years before we get the truck, the race is not gonna be up, it's gonna be this right here.
And you wouldn't start, correct, and you wouldn't start making payments until 2 or 3 years into the future once the truck's delivered, basically.
So if the economy blew up in that 2 years and everything, we still got this rate.
That's correct.
Is the interest accrued for those 3 years, or just sitting there stagnant?
No, it's just sitting there basically. It's just a one-time advance to where the loan, it would just be at the closing, once the truck's delivered, it would just be on a 20-year payback at the time of closing.
Does that loan have a collateral, or is is it collateral of the vehicle, or is it just what we do as a board?
Well, the
Resolution.
city would issue a bond for it. It would be a GO bond issue. And that's where,
the same as a bond.
that's right. That's what it would be. It would collateralize the debt. But that's where, and there would be a little bit of legal costs with that, but I'm very confident we could give you a $50,000 grant on the back end of it for the project, and that would more than cover the legal costs. So, it's, we have some grants for this program for equipment, but I cover 13 counties, and we only get about $125,000 for all those counties. So we kept these small grants at $50,000 in order to kind of spread it around to more than one community. So $50,000 is the most grant it could be. So, but we could certainly, do that, and that would help offset some of those legal costs for what the bond issue would cost to secure the debt.
Well, pushing it down, the positive thing about it being down 3 years from now, whatever, if there has to be more funding come about, which we don't like talking about, it's not right away.
Right.
Is this grant assured to us?
The $50,000. He's pretty confident it's not set in stone just yet until we get the application stuff all
He may give
filled
us
out.
100,000 if we say yeah right now.
Just for information purposes, Tony, can you tell us about what this truck was a year ago and 2 years ago?
January of 2023, it was, I have the number here, 1.8 million. So it's went up from 500,000, a little over 500,000 in 19 months.
And
So-
I remember a time when it was around 1.2, if I'm not
At one point last, I
mistaken.
think in 2002, we did get a quote for about, I think it was 1.3. It was the high 1.2, but real close to
And just keep
1.3.
growing.
It's just continue to go up, yeah. Matter of fact, just for reference, the pumper that we just recently got 2 years ago, or a year ago, we give just right under 600,000 for it. To order that exact same truck right now, the guy told me yesterday it's 1.1 million, just for the pumper.
Absolutely amazing, just amazing.
And what will you do with the current vehicle?
The current
Keep that
ladder
in
truck will
fleet?
be sold at the time of delivery, so you're looking at 3.5, 4 years before we could ever sell that. But there's no way of even knowing what we could even get for that that far out. And I don't think nobody would tell you what they're going to give you 4 years from now. What they're going to give you.
I didn't know if that you would keep that in your fleet or if you would.
We would get rid of it as of right now because we just don't have the facility. We only have the one bay that can hold it because of the height of it.
This is an upgrade.
Yes, it is.
You can reach higher.
Right. The current truck now is 75 foot. The new one that we would order would be 100 foot, and it would also have a basket a little easier for
That
rescue.
building out Cradle Lane, will 75 foot get on top of that building?
Not I guess the newest part they call it
Right.
where the robots and stuff
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
Not on that end over there. It will
But
not.
the 100 will.
The 100, yes, it'd be a lot easier to reach at the locations where we get to. The current truck will reach like the front off where the offices are, but will not reach the back.
Okay.
We've talked about this for a couple of years, and I think it's time we move forward, or else I'm afraid we'll be buying a $5 million truck.
They're going to continue to go up, yes. And then also you're going to get into, I think 2030, when we get to those motors, they're pushing electric right now. And I don't know if we need to be a guinea pig for an electric.
I
know California has some now, and they're having troubles out of it.
Sure they are.
Water and electricity don't really mix. So
We can't beat this payment option. It's just where are we gonna get the money to fund it?
right. And I think there is some things we have to get from some local banks as far as like bidding the option out, correct?
We just like to see that deal with the commercial credit rates and terms are, and we've got a template letter that we can work with the city on. You basically just carry it around 3 banks, and they just sort of put on there what their rate would be to finance the truck. So
I really don't know that another bank or institution would be able to touch the rate right now.
The amortization too, 20 years is great too. I mean, I don't know if the bank would even touch that.
And it's a really good, our rates and terms are the best. There is a little bit of an application process, to go through, but we can give you rates and terms really, I don't think anybody else could, but it does, there's a little bit of paperwork involved with it, but I can certainly work with the city officials, folks to fill that out and so forth. So that's sort of how it would work.
Okay, any other questions?
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Next on my agenda, and I think you have it on your iPads, is the Leadership Lincoln president has contacted me about placing a safe haven box at Station 1. And a safe haven box is if someone wants to drop off a child that they don't want, or whatever the conditions may be, they can drop a baby off, infant, whatever, in this box, and it secures it, and then it notifies us, and we take possession of it and contact EMS, and then it's turned over to Department of Child Services, things like that. If you'll scroll through on there, they presented me a PowerPoint just a few days ago, and an annual fee of $300, but what they are offering right now, if I can get this to pull up, is they are going to pay for the box, the install of the box, and they're going to pay for 10 years of the service contract, which is the $300 a year. So they're going to include, their fundraising goal is $25,000. They already have a cost of $23,000 to install it. They have already raised $21,000, and they still have a few other things. And actually, the guy told me when I called him day before yesterday about that they've almost reached their goal. So they're a little higher than what he has sent here. We just need approval that y'all are okay with us installing this box. And like I said, there's a few things that we have to just make sure we can get alarms and stuff sent to dispatch and things like that. In case we're not there, it does set off a second alarm to notify somebody it's happened. So we just have to do that.
So you will take care of the board?
We'd have to carry to the board for just approval.
Resolution, we
Yes.
Resolution 2. For the truck.
Yes. So Pam will carry the fire truck, the resolution to the board to discuss or look at that, and also this. Mr. Hill, is there anything, any legalities or anything that you might want me to look at before we carry this, or?
I'll prepare a resolution, but I don't have anything in particular that I can think of. Maybe as I'm working on it, I'll have the thought of something that I'm not thinking of now. But
And I can give you, if you need, I can give you what paperwork, the extra stuff that I have here. Next on the agenda, we have an oath of office for a new hire that we hired last month. His name's Dustin Ward, so we just need to do the oath of office for him, and so just pass that through. And then some department updates. Just to let you know, we've just completed a hazmat technician class, so we have 16 certified hazmat technicians, which is really good in the city. I think throughout the whole county, there's 18 of us maybe, so we have 16 of them. Also, Frankie recently made a donation to the city or to the fire department for the purchase of the mannequins, CPR mannequins. So we have got them ordered, haven't got them in just yet, but we did get a donation for that. So that ordered all the mannequins and some supplies for that. So we will be starting our classes. We were hoping to have them start in January. We're not 100% sure that they'll be in, but we're hoping they'll be in at least by January to start being able to teach CPR classes to the industries or the schools or whoever wants that. And we're going to shoot for doing one class a month, but if we get a big need for it, we may try to throw in a second class a month. And other than that, that's my report.
Any questions for the fire chief?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to Parks and Recs, Director Nathan Browning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to start with, first off, thank you for the warm welcome to this position. I greatly appreciate it.
Don't get used to it.
Don't get used to it. First on my report this morning, farmer's market, the roof has been repaired. We had some damage from the tornado. It has been completed. Stonebridge Park tree removal update. One of the three, I think 3 was planned to be taken down. One has been completed. We're still working on the second one right now, so that's actually in motion. Stonebridge Park, with the communications with the cabin maintenance. I know the Oldham cabin had some wood damage. Contact Mr. Vic Hood, who is an expert at this type of material in these cabins. We are on his list. He's very popular, very high demand. I spoke with Mr. Wakefield, who may have an inside track to get him down here a little bit sooner. So that is in motion. Christmas lights are up. The maintenance guys have been working very hard to get those in motion. We have a couple of additions this year. I already have folks out taking pictures with those new additions. So looking for that to be a good spot for the community. Tennis and pickleball courts, tennis courts behind the rec center. I know we went out to look at those. They are in desperate need. I know that was on the list when I came in. We're actually starting that ball rolling now with getting quotes. We have one that has already come in. It has gone up since April. So we're looking for one more, waiting on that to come in as well, so we can get that hopefully in motion. Basketball goals at Kiwanis Park. We are looking to take down the poles. We have in mind, we've received 2 quotes to get those in. Kiwanis has graciously offered to donate one of those basketball goals for us, and we'll take care of the other one. Looking forward to get that up. I know those have been up there since I was a kid, so we're hoping to get those rolling. They will not be in stock, however, until December 1st. So after December, we'll actually start that. The trunk or treat was a success. We got to see a lot of kids come out, enjoy candy, and some of the community members had their trunks set up, so I was very fortunate to see everyone come out for that. The Christmas parade is on track to be a success. Applications are coming in daily. We are our new office coordinator, which I'll get to in a minute. She was on the phone just reminding folks who were in it last year is coming closer and closer every day. So applications are coming in, which leads to the Christmas parade wrap up. We I believe put invitations in your boxes. This is going to be an invitation after the parade for all those involved who worked, and for the city municipal, we're going to have a little
gathering of beef stew and some chili and some sweets over at the rec center, some coffee. We'd like to welcome you out to that. Baseball and softball policies, we're returning that to, hopefully if you want to use our parks, use our baseball fields, then we would bring that $75 fee back. I know people have been out there using them and wanting to use lights, and everything is going out, but nothing was coming in. So in order to keep those facilities, in order to get those facilities up and running, we want to be able to bring in some money for that. So we're doing that, as well as I've been in contact with purchasing some advertisement signs for the ball fields. We're looking to bring that into where we can start generating some funds to incorporate into our facilities. So we have that actually just waiting for the official word go, and we can start doing that. I met with the high school baseball team, Booster Club, this week, and they are excited about helping us out and being joint works and raising money for those facilities down there. The athletic boards, baseball, softball, and we're taking back soccer. The boards and committees have been set for each sport. Feel very, very good about our upcoming spring and spring sports. So looking for a good turnout there. Those folks on those boards are very excited. They're motivated to get athletics back in Fayetteville. And I've already had a lot of the community members reach out saying they're excited to have that coming back too. So we're looking forward to that. Volleyball for the spring, I wanted to look into bringing volleyball to the city of Fayetteville for our kids. I got word that a lot of our residents here were going across the state line in other cities for volleyball leagues, and if they're going to do that, the drive is a lot shorter to come here. So I've been working with Fayetteville Middle School, and we're real close to getting that taken care of, or we'll be able to take care of the need for volleyball. Pool manager 2024, I spoke with them from last year. Everything I've been told has been nothing but wonderful things from Miss Bridget. Hoping to get her back. When I was speaking with her about ways we can make it better, we're looking to add a person to split that time. It shouldn't be any more from another pot, monies, but from just splitting what is already there. So it wouldn't be any additional that I know of as of right now. Our new office coordinator, we just hired Miss Jade Dawes. She started the 23rd. She is on fire to make Fayetteville a better place, and she's done a great job, and very excited. And she's already presented some ideas that we're working on, and so we're excited to get her in a groove, if you will. Don Davidson repair leaks on field 1. We've had one to pop up, another one would spring up. We get one fixed, another one will come up. So right now everything's winterized, so nothing else should be coming from Don Davidson from the sprinkler system. From the pool house, we did add 2 additional lights. We're set to put a toilet in there. We're getting the measurements. I've got a couple of folks who are going to get that measured for us, and I think our guys can be able to put it in. The gun range, I know Kobe has been working on this while he was in the interim position. It has made drastic improvements. He's done a wonderful job with that. I've pretty much just told him this has been yours from the get-go. You do it how you want to do it. And he's taken that and doing good things with it. So guys were up there last Wednesday working on it as well. The fences at S.J. King Park and Kids Park have been complete, the removal of those. Scoreboard power supply to the soccer field. That is in progress now. I've been in contact with Mr. Britt, and we're going to try to get that taken care of as soon as we can. Just down the road a little bit, some programs that were coming up. One, it will be Men of Virtue. We'll start that in January. And in February, around the month of Valentine's, having a kids dance where kids will bring in someone special. You know, a young man can bring in his mom, a young lady can bring in her dad or uncle or grandparent, and looking to have that for our community as well. If there's any questions, happy to answer those.
You talk about winterizing, what about the soccer fields? Has it been winterized?
Not yet. We have a solenoid that's out, so we're going to get that hopefully fixed soon. So a man is going to come by and check that out to see if we can get that fixed.
So you got the water equipment all in that little building deal up on the road up there. What do you do, turn the water off? Is that what you do to winterize it?
Just got to flush out the water from the pipes. Keep the water out of the pipes.
Getting kind of late in the year to be winterizing, so we're going to have some cold weather one of these days.
Yes.
Not for a couple of weeks.
It was cold for Halloween.
It's cold weather. I know the gas line is probably, but anyway, welcome to the position. I hope you do well.
Thank you very much.
It's a difficult position, but I hear good things.
Thank you.
We'll see.
Hope so.
Nathan, like I told you before, man, I'm glad to have you on. Known your dad, known you for many years. Your dad's a good singer, so. But yeah, welcome aboard. Can't wait to see all the great things you got in store for us. So
appreciate it.
Yeah, just be careful. If you got any kin folks around you, you better be careful.
Yes, sir. That's what I've heard.
If I can, I want to add one thing to Nathan's report he did not mention, but I think in his first meeting he met with, in his Veterans Weekend, so he met with VFW, Ms. Burkett. We had a very successful meeting that week. He led that meeting. He coordinated to get that meeting, and they left very happy, and they had been sort of not happy for a few months before, but they left very happy. So I do want to thank you for starting that off right with that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Could you share the date for the parade application deadline?
November 22nd.
November 22nd.
Yes, ma'am.
And the date and time of the parade?
It'll be December 2nd, and it will start off about 5 o'clock.
And in case of rain, you said it would be December 3rd. Would it be the same time?
Yes,
5?
ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we will move into the Planning and Codes Department. Director Christy Gentry.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. The only action item we had on the agenda was the animal ordinance. This went back through our committee to come back to work session for discussion. It is the same ordinance that was presented in October to the board.
So that needs to go to,
Any questions on the animal ordinance?
I'd just like to say I'm interested in looking at it again and getting some, I don't know, recommendation from other cities. I don't know.
I think we did put this off once.
I know, but I'm concerned about the 1,000 feet. It's almost like it's taken any chance of, it's like we're putting an ordinance out there that nobody in the city could actually go by. I mean, 1,000 feet is over 3 football fields. So is there actually anybody in the city who could have chickens that's not zoned to agriculture? I'm not sure. And then I've heard from the people in the public, and I've gotten a lot of calls. I've never got a call on complaints of chickens, but I've gotten a lot of calls on concerns of not being able to have them. And it also covers the latest one, any livestock, anything that's not a domesticated animal. I know there's some horses here in the city. I know there's several people with barns that are not zoned agriculture. That's going to relate to it. I mean, it's rabbits fall under that. I mean, I'm just not sure. I'm not interested in moving forward with the way this one's written.
My understanding is that there is a lot of complaints against chickens. Am I right?
I've gotten complaints.
Okay.
Could the city administrator address that? I mean, like, how many complaints do we get?
Do you want to address it? I
mean, it's a lot.
We get them on pretty much
Any at
a
all.
weekly basis.
There's quite a few that people don't want to be known that they're complaining because they're neighbors to the people who have the chickens.
But what I'm wondering is it the same people complaining? Is it somebody, like, I know cities usually have like a limit on how many you can have, how they have to be housed, not to have roosters. There's all kinds of things that other cities do. Is it the same people that are calling, or do we have multiple people calling?
do have multiple people calling. And
Okay.
it's,
What's the biggest complaint?
they just don't want their neighbors to have chickens. Some of them have free range, so we'll get complaints that they're in my flowers.
Okay, so
They're-
free range, that would be a problem. See, that's what I'd like to look at. What is the problem? What are the complaints?
The question I would think with free range is how do you enforce it? How do you keep them from being free range? How do you have the manpower, now we're talking about the police department, to go in, and I'm not speaking for or against right now.
Right.
I'm just talking questions and answers. How do you enforce it?
Well,
How
I'm
do you
wondering
have
if it
people
would,
who have 2 chickens here and someone who has 42 down here?
well, I think that's where we could reach out to other cities and see what they're doing, because they do have limits. Some of
But
them have
enforcement.
6.
Enforcement, how do you enforce it?
Codes enforcement. Not health officer. From what I understand, other cities only call them health officer when there's actually a health problem. And most of these are just complaints. It would be just like not having a fence up around the pool or anything else, in my opinion.
Tom, you said something about there's some barns. Aren't there a couple of barns? There are some that are grandfathered in. There's 2 or 3 in Fayetteville city limits, correct?
There are a couple.
Just
like
like
that.
the-
I know there's a donkey somewhere on the avenues, because I've heard it. I don't know.
Grandfathered in.
That's me, sorry.
But I mean, there's a couple of them that are grandfathered in.
I just want to know how we take care
One
of
of the
it.
problems with the
Because we're
current
gonna be danged
ordinance
if we do
is
anything
that no permit has ever been issued. We don't have any record of any permits been issued, and it really gives false hope of,
I agree with that. I don't like the ordinance we have. And we've looked at this a couple times over the past 5 years. My problem is, this ordinance is pretty much saying that nobody in the city can have chickens or any other animal. That's rabbits, that's anything else falls under this. I just would like for us to look at it, let's do a study of other cities. We could do an in-house study and see what they're doing. Because you can have chickens in Atlanta and Nashville and other places. So if big cities like that can have them, I'm just not really understanding why a small town like Fayetteville can.
Well, here's a question I'd like to bring. Are these chickens specifically, because I had no idea that we even had a chicken problem in the city. I'll just be honest, I didn't know that we even had that problem. But are these chickens being raised are they being raised for slaughter? Are they being raised for, which I know some of the gentlemen out here for 4-H and things like that, that's one thing. But do we have, are they laying eggs and people are collecting eggs and all that? So if this is a 4-H thing that the school is doing, is there any way that the school could house these chickens? I mean, they've got property, they've got all kind of stuff up there. Even at the county and city level, can they not have their chickens there? Can you?
No, I mean, well, I'm just
I don't
gonna
think
say,
they have an
like,
agricultural
4-H
building
says
for
they
that.
get 12 chickens. We can't have 10 kids bring in 12 chickens apiece and house them at the school. But the school doesn't qualify either, right? It's not zoned agriculture.
I had this question raised earlier in the week. Generally, we can't enforce our ordinances against the county. And that's, I mean, I know we've run into that with like building permits, building inspections, things like that. So if this passed, I don't think we could enforce this against Lincoln County High School property. So if they have a chicken coop on the county property there, that's probably something that would fall outside of what could be enforced.
What about fairgrounds?
That's county property.
It's county property.
I don't think so.
So it wouldn't fall.
I don't think the fairgrounds is county property. I think it's owned by the board down there. Because they was having to pay taxes on it for a while, but they got to be a 501 whatever. I don't think the fairgrounds is county property. I think it's private property.
What about the barns that are not zoned agriculture that have horses?
Again, I think that's,
I think we're opening
yeah, that was the
ourselves up.
There's some that are grandfathered in.
Some are not though.
Correct.
I know for a fact some are not. I don't know. I'm just afraid we're opening up a can of worms here. I would like to see us research. If the problem is chickens and we're getting complaints on those, look at what other cities are doing, how we can limit those. I mean, if we're going to have to go out and address this anyway, if we outlaw them everywhere in the city, we're going to have to address it anyway. So why not just focus on those people who are not following the rules? That's just my opinion. That's where I stand on this issue.
I think people live in the city though to not live around chickens in their backyard. I think it's part of the thing. We're all for agriculture up here. I mean, that's a huge part of our community, but in the city, in a residential area, you don't want to walk out in the back and see chickens. I know some areas have wooded areas that have, animals in the back. You have chicken coops, there's going to be coyotes, foxes coming up into residential neighborhoods where kids are. I don't
already have
care for
foxes in
that.
town.
I've had several people tell me they do not want chickens in the city, and that's the way I feel too.
Well,
I just know in my
I'm fixing to
neighborhood, yeah,
date
we-
myself here, and like I said, I'm not speaking for or against right now. I do remember when there was chickens in the city, all over the city.
I believe there should be rules and regulations, absolutely. I believe you should be able to have 100 chickens in your backyard free range. I believe there should be rules, like other cities set forth. I'm curious to see if any other city has this exact same ordinance that we have.
Changed.
Well, we've already put this off for a month and nobody,
Well, I'm okay with moving forward with it. It's just, I wanted my opinion. I want everybody to know where I stood on this issue.
okay, everybody wanted to move forward except for Tanya with this ordinance for Tuesday night.
I'm for moving forward with it. If it doesn't go through
Yes.
Tuesday night, it gets put off again.
Move
Always
forward.
make a motion to put it off again.
Okay.
So,
The ordinance will move forward to Tuesday night.
I would give my full department report on Tuesday night, but I did want to take this opportunity. I wanted to thank all the city departments for their help with host preparation this week. I'm kind of coordinate with them and do all the behind the scenes things, preparing. FPU is very helpful with getting the banners and the lighted snowflakes out, as well as making sure we have electricity for our vendors that weekend and all the boxes are open and working. And then all of our city departments, I know the rec department, they've already got the trailer loaded, ready to move the tables and the information booth out. They did a great job of getting the park ready because we will have our luminary walk down the Greenway again. Police, of course, their morning will start early with the run, and they do safety all that weekend. Eddie's crew will be doing trash pickup and working on leaves and all the things. So I just kind of wanted to make the board aware of all those things. It truly takes a village. It's one of the most magical, eventful weekends that we have all year downtown. So I hope that everyone will bring their families downtown. The brochures are out. All the sponsorship businesses have them. And of course, they're posting daily on the Host of Christmas Past Facebook page. That's my report.
Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you.
Moving to finance. Oh, I'm sorry, IT. Mr. Owens, do you have that?
I think Lucas is going to
Okay.
present for us.
I'm here for this go around.
Okay.
Sorry for being absent last month. I had a wedding to attend, my own. So for this month, there's been a lot of things going on. The first half of the month, I was absent due to wedding stuff and the honeymoon. And then while I was planning and doing all that, I was coordinating with RJO to get a printer for HR and also helping with the local gov conversion, which that's finished in this building, according to what Loretta's told me. So we are now able to take property taxes online. That was disabled prior to the conversion, and now it's been re-enabled. So citizens are now able to go back on the website, and there are 3 locations that they'll be able to pay for their property taxes. Number 1, there's an announcement on the front page at the bottom regarding property tax information, and there's a link there they can click, or they can call and pay their taxes over the phone. Number 2, there's a how do I section, and there's property taxes. That's been re-enabled. And then lastly, there's a button that says pay property taxes, and you can click that and it goes right to the website. So all that's been re-enabled. You can pay your property taxes online over the phone, or you can call up to the municipal building if you have any questions regarding your property taxes. The week after I got back from all the wedding stuff and the honeymoon, that's when the new printer for HR came in from RJ Young. RJ Young called me literally the day I was leaving for the honeymoon, and they were like, "Oh, the printer's coming in." I was like, "Okay, well, I'll take care of it when I get back. So that printer has came in, and I have installed it. And at the end of that week, when I installed it, I was instructed to move the entire IT department to a different room in the municipal building. HR has taken my previous office, and all 3 of its rooms are being used for HR purposes. And now the room across from the break room in the municipal building now houses all of IT. It was a bit of a journey getting 3 rooms of IT equipment into one room. Other than that, like I said, local gov conversion has been going well. The only thing that has to be sorted out is Parks and Rec and police need scanners and card readers. That way they can take their payments for miscellaneous things like tickets and stuff at their locations. So the finance department and Loretta are going to be taking care of getting this hardware, and I will help to get it installed. That way they can process their purchases and other miscellaneous receipts. Other items, I've been working on my monthly updates and backups. The backups have come in extremely helpful. I had a computer die over at the rec center earlier this week, and I was able to bring it back online with the backups and get Nathan and Miss Jade back the way they need to, especially with all the Christmas stuff and going on. Windows 11 is currently being slowed down while I'm trying to get back into the roll of things, and also got new users set up for Parks and Rec coordinator, evidence tech at police, and I helped Nathan at Parks and Rec to pick up exactly where Brian left off and get all of his ducks in a row. Other than that, that's about it. It's been a wild month.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for me?
Before we leave, can I get you to get my phone on the email thing?
I sure can.
Yeah, because I got a new phone and it's all.
I'd be more than
I just
happy
need help with that, buddy.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
If I could add one thing to Lucas' report too, he was very instrumental. We had to get some technology, way to work with the animal control in this interim period. So I do want to thank him because he had to come in and kind of help Laura at least get the computers and set up so we can at least do basic intakes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Luke. Appreciate it.
Now for our finance department, Director Loretta Garner.
Yes. Mr. Dye, is he here?
Oh, there you are. I'm sorry. We want to start with, they're working on their bond, and I think we got the information.
I would like you to do one thing. I know it's in a little bit of a hurry here, but I would like, I think it's something we need to kind of straighten out here. Let's let Britt go first, then I'll get to you on this one, okay?
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I come up here to discuss, I've covered with the mayor and Mr. Owens and Ms. Gardner here about the 3 loans that we've been working on better than 4 years now. And it's all water replacement jobs. It's the increased capacity, flow, those kinds of things. And there's 3 different amounts that requires 3 different resolutions by the city, mayor and alderman. Yeah, the timeline is very, very crucial at this point in time that I got to get, if you decide to move forward, we got to get everything approved like Tuesday night, and then I got to send it electronically on the next day because that's the dead drop date. One of them is project amounts $15,200,000, one's $1,800,000, and the other one is $800,000. And the project total amount is $17,800,000, and you get a principal forgiveness a little over $9 million. So, if we can move forward with this, but we still got some paperwork that we have to get, like the attorney's letters for all 3 projects. We got everything else put together. By Tuesday night, we should have everything just waiting on the signatures if y'all decide to pass the resolution. Yes, sir.
So all you want is, you want the resolutions?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Everything else has already been justified and accounted for with us dealing with the state, and that's all we need at this point
So
in
this is
time.
for waterworks mainly, I believe. Most of the waterworks.
All of it's water.
But there's a sense of urgency in here because it's got to be in there Wednesday morning at Nashville.
Yes, sir. Now, there's one project that's coming up later on with the ARPA funds. Did you know that the city, we're just waiting on finalizing that, but now that will be on the sewer side, but this has got nothing to do with none of that funding.
All right.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Dunn? We've met a couple of times. I know Mr. Owens has been working closely with Britt also in his department. So looks like everything is ready to pass through. We'll send it on to Tuesday night.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, bud.
You might have been going to address this, but I did have a question here. I don't know if he was going to address this. Well, it's on the iPad. The local option sales tax for September.
Yes.
And also the Oxford tax. Was you going to address that?
Yes.
Okay.
First thing we had on there is the CORE invoice. There was extra expenditures that they incurred as a result of the extra meetings and things we did in reference to the sidewalk project. So we're requesting that those funds be taken from the general fund instead of, and not touch that, because you know you've got that money that's set aside for overages on the construction phase, so I didn't think you probably wanted to take it out of that and dip into that. So my suggestion would be to take that out of the general fund.
How much did we put back in that contingency? Like for the stuff that we had voted on for, just in case something like this was to happen?
This is
It's
a
140 something.
contingency.
How much was it?
140 something thousand.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Okay. So, all
I
right.
think that's about right.
Yeah.
That's correct.
My thought on that was more of a contingency from the construction end.
Okay.
But that, again, that's a board decision.
It is. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
So this is an overage.
So when we went through and we had to go a little bit further and just, they had some additional work that they charged us for.
Because the bond issue came in so high.
Even when we prolonged the
bid.
Yes, because some of it was even in attendance of the meeting.
And that extended it out.
Yes, yes. So this is all with the bid contract, not the work contract, construction contract.
The second item was the animal control. I think you have a report of what has already been paid to the Humane Society for this year out of the $75,000 that was originally budgeted. Now keep in mind that's just our half. The county does match that. Then we have incurred some expenditures in September and October, getting that up and going. And our recommendation is to move those out of the current line item, which is donations to a nonprofit, which Humane Society was. But now that we're going to be doing this in-house, my suggestion would be to move those remaining funds into a separate object code, similar to the other departments. That way you'll have a better breakdown of what the expenditures are. In other words, you won't get just a total, you'll get a breakdown of what, how much of it's salaries, how much of it is. So
it's going to be a line item like they've been wanting for years.
Right.
Correct. It's going to be set up similar to how we do the comm center. As a matter of fact, that's our model. So everything would be in-house, and we would have to go through regular procurements for supplies, et cetera, out of these funds.
Is county planning to do the same thing with their funds?
So what is going to happen is set up the exact same. We would send them an invoice every month for their hair, and they would have to they would replenish this every month.
But they're not funding as much as we are.
They cut theirs back.
They cut theirs back.
They're supposed to have 50% of everything we get, yes.
In their budget, it was not this year past.
I know, but they're still supposed to pay 50% of everything that if we expense, let's say we spend, 100,000, they're supposed to give us 50,000.
Okay, that's good.
Next item is I had told you that last month that I would be giving you a analysis of the ARPA funds. We've completed that, and at this point, we only have a couple of things that are left to be ordered. There are a few things that that have been ordered, have not been received at this point in time. For instance, I think the boat is sitting in a dock in customs waiting to come through. So we have a few items like that are yet to be put into service. I think the air compressor is always waiting on somebody to get that installed. So there are some items that have been ordered or have been received and yet are not put into service as of yet. But there's only a couple of things that have yet to be ordered, and those will be ordered within the next few weeks. We talked to the department heads and individually and went through all of each item they had under these ARPA funds, and so they know that what they've got left to spend and what they've got left to work with.
So whatever's left over, there's a 3-year timeline, I believe, on it.
Right. And this board will have to, make that decision on how they want to spend those remaining funds. I have calculated an estimate of about $38,500 that we'll have remaining of those ARPA funds that we'll need to have, that this board will need to designate how those funds to be spent.
So I guess you're recommending to wait until all this other gets cleared out. Or are you comfortable with that number right now?
I'm pretty comfortable with the number right now because we've already got purchase orders issued on most all of it except for a couple of things. So I feel pretty comfortable with that going forward. Matter of fact, we had one item that went over by $46, and then we'll have some other items that we may have a little bit more than that 38,000 when it's all said and done.
Maybe some of the department heads has some ideas on that.
Yeah. I think
all of them probably do. Any of the department heads will probably tell you how you can spend that money.
Right.
Trust me, some have already told me.
Okay. So we're there already.
Yeah.
But I did look into some of the options that, at first when these ARPA Cup funds came out, they were very strict on exactly what you could spend them on. But they have relaxed those restrictions. I think last year you even were able to give employees, $500 per employee out of those funding. So now things like that can be used. This money can be used for that. So we did look into that, and it is more broad now than it was. So there's more options we have now.
Silly question. The ARPA funds, does that have to be spent or can it be saved? Does it have to be spent on something or it has to be spent? Okay.
Yes, and they give us a timeline on spending it.
Okay.
3 years, got to be spent
3 years.
3 years.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know how much time's left now, but it's got to be spent 3 years.
I think we got 2 more years. Yeah. So I think Federal's on target with getting it spent in timely and getting all those. In April, we'll have to give another report to the federal.
I expect it to be spent in the next couple of months.
I think you're right. Like I said, just that little bit, 38 to 40,000, I think will be, all of that will be spent in the next couple of months. And if we can get all these in, get the items in. Anybody got any more questions on? Okay. The next item is we had update on the firefighter schedule. It does, the total salary is the same.
You skip,
What did I skip?
5, certificate of deposit.
Oh, I'm sorry. The certificate deposits, we have requested rates from the banks. I've already received 2 bids from 2 of the banks, and I'm waiting on the 3rd, which I should receive today. It's a $200,000 CD that is maturing on the 14th. So hopefully we'll get that today, and we'll go with that higher rate. Hopefully I'll have it before Tuesday night's meeting, so you'll know the exact rate that CD will be able to, we're able to secure that CD at. I will say that we would like to start in the first of the year looking at our balances. The state has a fund that is designed for small business, for our small municipalities and counties, that we can actually put money into this fund, draw interest, but yet still have immediate availability. So that's something I would like to look into the rates, compare it to our local banks' rates. What they could do is offers something similar. We've got some money, especially in our general fund, that's sitting there not drawing anything, and that just gets under my skin that we got all this money sitting there, not utilize some of it. But then again, on the other hand, it is our general fund, and we need to make sure that we have that to meet current expenditures.
So you're going to bring an option to us?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm thinking probably January, February. I want to do it before the budget time so that you can have a good idea. And you may even not want to actually do it until budget time. But just give you some options on some things that we might be able to better utilize our funds that we have.
But you want to move forward with this?
But I want to move forward with this, because this is our CD that is maturing.
Okay, so we're going to move forward the CD. Also, Pam, you got, I'm sure, the CROI and everything. Okay.
Now the next thing is the firefighter pay scale. It's the total yearly salary is the same. What had happened during budget time was that there was some calculation errors in the base hourly amounts. And when he's talking to his prospective employees, that's what they're looking at. They're not looking at the annual salary. They're looking at that base hourly. And so we updated that. Most of it's just by a few cents. And tell me if you got any more.
What had happened was they figured it at 109 hours, and they were trying to get some numbers, trying to figure in the overtime for every 3 months, or every month, excuse me, and we actually work 106. So to get it back to that base hourly rate for the 106 hours, and that's all it's done. The yearly annual salary never changed from what was already approved right before July, but it's all that's still the same. But it's just the hourly rate changed.
Thank you. Got any questions on? During our conversion, we did discover one issue. We knew we'd come upon issues, but we did come upon one that would require some board approval. Is that the licensing? We initially purchased 10 licensing, but we have discovered that because the way that we work with our computers up on our counters, that we really need additional licenses. They're sold in groups of 10. So what we're requesting is an additional 10 licenses, because what they're having to do now is they're having to log out of like they're sitting at their desk, they're having to log out of their system and then go up to the counter. The customer's having to wait for them to log into their new system, into the system there, and to get it ready to go, and then take the payment. So it is a little bit of a inconvenience for our staff, and having to constantly log in and log out. That was just something that was overlooked when they initially were initially calculating how many licenses we would need. No one had thought about that need, that we need duplicate licenses for those machines. And that would be at an additional cost of $4,000 per year. Our software installer is helping to work on it and may be able to reduce that amount some. I talked to him yesterday, but it'd be no more than $4,000 additional.
Okay, so we'll take this forward to Tuesday night. Okay. And item 8.
Yeah, the next thing is as Mr. Bryant talked about, and was my concern, and I have been talking to the county. They're getting me data on how much our sales were this year versus last year. What our concern is that when the state decided not to collect sales tax on food, that we are suffering from that. The state promised us that we would not be seeing any reduction, but that's not what I'm seeing here. So I'm trying to get data from the county, and I should have it by Tuesday night on what the actual sales were this year versus last year this time, and that'll tell us if our sales are down, or is it a result of them not collecting on the food tax.
Well, that's not my only,
and
that's not really my issue. My issue with this report, well, that's a concern too. But on this report, I'm looking at this right here. This went through finance. Those numbers that you've got on here, or what I've got on my iPad, they don't make any sense to me. You're saying, what I'm seeing, you're saying in September, which is a September report, right?
Right.
We collected $356,708. We've never collected that much in the city of Bethel, ever, not even during Christmas time. You're saying that's a decrease of 8%.
Yeah.
Well, that can't be, because if I've got the same printout you've got, and this went through finance, I'm not on finance no more, but I went back and looked. Last September, we collected $256,782 last September. The highest we've ever collected is around Christmas time was $352,000, which that's after Christmas. I don't see how we could have collected over $100,000 more than we did last year, and then turn around and say it's an 8% decrease.
I was also considering the amount of the state share revenue.
Okay.
I considered both, because that's all a part of sales tax and what we get.
So it doesn't.
So we might be comparing apples and oranges.
It doesn't fit this category right here. It doesn't fit.
Right, because I'm including everything.
Okay.
Everything sales
Well, that's
tax.
something altogether different.
Yeah.
That's different. I couldn't make that.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see how, I couldn't see how them numbers could possibly work. And if that's the state sheriff, if you're adding that into it as something new, then we need to get a different format completely, because nothing's matching up that we can see. On the Oxby tax, also, it says here this was for August instead of September.
Oh, excuse me, that was a typo.
So that's September, right?
That's September.
So we collected $16,413, but you say that's a decrease of 32% from 80,
Right.
from last year?
from last year, but it wasn't, dollar amount, it wasn't that big. It's because we don't collect that much in that
So
line
we
item.
collected, last year we collected, in September, we collected $14,528. This year we collected 16, and that's a decrease? That doesn't make any sense.
That wasn't the numbers I had.
I'm just going by my printout, what we get.
Maybe she might want to go back and look at the.
You
I'll
need
go
to
back
go
and look at
back,
them and verify.
because I don't, it sounds bad that we had a decrease of 32%, which we've never had any decrease like that in occupancy tax ever. If we collected $16,413 in that September instead of August, and we look back, last September, we collected 14,000 something, that's an increase, if a decrease, so I'm trying to like that clarified.
I will, because
All right.
that wasn't the numbers I was looking at, so I'll make sure that I was looking at the correct
All I've got
amounts.
to look at is what I've been given by the city of Fayetteville.
Yeah.
That's all I've got to look at, so I don't know. But anyway, if we're going to be including the state share, then hopefully that we're going to get some type of a different format going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think that maybe the best thing to do is have two reports for you, the state shared and then what's coming from your trustee.
I think that that's what you need to do.
Yeah, that way you can
Because
see
that state
exactly how
share
much
is a
we're getting.
completely separate issue from what we collect per se. They're divided, they're separate. And to put them together like this, I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
Okay.
Unless that's what the board wants to do. You know,
Well, that's not a problem.
And I just
Two
kind
different.
of, I couldn't make it add up.
That way you
when I
can
looked at
see.
that. And I'm sure the finance probably looked at that too. I'm not talking to them, but I couldn't make that add up, especially that occupancy tax. I hope to goodness we didn't go down to 32%. Because that would be a serious, well, it wouldn't be good. That's all
She
I've
said
got.
that at the finance meeting, that it was all of it, so, but we'll look at that, if you will, double check those numbers.
I will.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Moving on to administration, Mr. Owens.
Good morning again. My number one item to present tonight is just an update on where we are in the animal control report and updating the transition process. As everybody knows, as of October 1st, the Humane Society has left conducting the services. So they've moved all the way up into October 11th. From that time on, we have been conducting all of the animal control services. At the moment, we're only doing temporary, and that includes emergency services, abandonment, safety issues to animals, safety issues to humans, as well as police and crime issues. For example, in the chase on Saturday, there was an animal that had to be maintained at our facilities, so we had to overtake that particular animal. So we are currently just doing emergency situations. Very few dogs are there, but we do have some, and we have had a chance to adopt them so far. We have been in the process of, right now, we have obtained 3 employees that are taking care of the animals. They're training, cleaning, trying to prepare for January when we will have full services. On Tuesday, I believe, it may have been Monday, my days are running, but we did have a big training by the Tennessee National Animal Control. They gave us some tips on things we need to do in order for preparation for January 1st. So we did get some things listed on goals we need to be working on over the next 6 weeks. We also been in the process of ordering supplies, food, and all the things to operate. Bottom line, we're looking to see whether we can someday go into a newer building. We don't think that our building is really appropriate. We think there's a lot of issues, but that may be a little bit down the line, so we're trying to do what we need to do to operate as of January 1st. Bottom line, we're operating is at a minimum, and we're preparing for January 1st. And any questions?
Have they got insurance on the van for us? Are we insuring the van now?
That's on my list. Right now, we're not operating the van. We do have some things we got to do to get that van insured. I got to get a letter in. That's one of the things on my test that I do have to do.
How are they carrying the animals?
So right now, we're just doing mileage if they have to do any animals.
So we do have a plan sometime in January to be full force.
We do. That's our goal.
So we're completely separated, I guess you'd say now, from the humane side of it.
We are separated, but we do want a relationship. I mean, they're not going to be animal control, but we do want to keep a relationship, yes. They have moved everything out of the facilities. What is theirs they have, and what is ours we have.
So I learned, I'm sorry, go ahead.
We still have to purchase a lot of things.
We do, we do.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons I wanted to move everything over to our side, because we got to go through a procurement process. So you're absolutely correct, Roger. We do have a lot to purchase, a lot of inventory we do have to get. We have just recently placed some furniture down there. They didn't even have furniture there. So it's a process. It's still going to be a process.
So are we looking at buying a bunch of new equipment and then it'll go into that building? And
it will.
You'd like a long-range plan maybe to build a building or find another facility? I guess that's what you're saying.
We would. I think everybody who has assessed that building do not feel like we can utilize without putting more money in it than it's worth. Right now, that plan, it's been some buildings offered, but we do not have a building per se that we're going to say, hey, this is going to be that building. So right now, we probably going to have to put a little more money in there, but we want to put it at the minimum.
Okay.
The building is in very bad shape. It's valued at $76,000. In order just to get it at its minimum, we see that at least 100 would have to be put in there.
Another 100?
In order just to get it at its minimum. So it's a lot of stuff in there. We think it's just going to be a money pit.
So what we talk long term, what's your timeline on thinking about doing something different?
Well, I have a building I would like to more go into January. I think it would be ready, but the county is not on that particular tip. So
okay.
So
I won't push you on that.
Yeah, but in all honesty, as far as operation, we may have to put a little money in it for 6 months in order to get something. The building I do like. I don't think the county has, signed out that they liked it. They say it was too close to the floodplain. So
100,000 would get. 100,000 into that building would get you everything you need.
No, ma'am.
No,
ma'am.
That's just for necessity.
Basics, yes.
Okay.
Just operational.
Okay.
We have big plumbing problems. We have gutter problems. The list goes on and on. The building is old. There's issues in there. If anybody want to take a tour, I'd be glad to.
I've been through it.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
That's where we get our animals from.
It's awful. The facings around the doors, the dogs have chewed those off. Some of the doors have been chewed by dogs. The sheriff went in and stayed just a few minutes and had to go out. It's disgusting. And the odor is in the bones of the house, and it's bad.
And the one thing I did not include in that 100,000 estimate, we would have to kind of get ADA compliance, and we did not put that cost in there. That's just to operate for a couple of years.
So you've got a building in mind, but the county's not sold on that building.
Right.
Is that Would that head us in a direction of separating from the county on this?
I don't think so. As a matter of fact, I do want to push a little bit because I just see so many reasons why that building would be able to go into quicker without less construction. I just think it would meet a lot of our needs.
Okay, all right.
But I do want to, appeal for that building.
Kevin, what building is this? The building that you were suggesting, the one that's close to the floodplain?
I can tell you, I don't know what building it is, but it was a former church.
Okay.
It's a former lumber yard.
Okay.
It's Williams Lumber. Williams Lumber.
Gotcha. Well, I know I know I've talked to Jack about this before, about the building that's right across the street from the city high school. It used to be a doctor's office. It used to be an orthopedic. I think I talked to you once before about it at one time. But termite damage. Is that right, Jack? Termite damage? Okay. But I got you. All right. But would that be even a consideration to even try to fix it to make it?
We haven't looked at that one.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah, that one would be a little more challenging.
Okay.
Than the one we're looking at, but we have looked at that one.
And also, that's where that Bearden Mill Road is going to come out eventually.
Right.
And
Correct.
not sure where the road's going to be located.
Okay.
So that would affect that.
Gotcha.
So I think the county's kind of holding on that one. We've looked at several and thought of several and just trying to find a location, but
as far, it is a process, and just to let the board know that 90 days that we're using to get ourselves together is the same 90 days that we had last year between July and September 30th, that we did not have any animal control services. That was when the Humane Society was thinking about backing out, and they did do a few services for us, which are the same that we're doing now. And Laura is here with us today if you have any direct questions on operation. We've been on the phone daily and she's been doing a great job for us, but she's here today as well.
But we're still spending less money,
We're spending
right?
less money, yes. Our monthly fees right now is not at the cost that we were given to the Humane Society monthly. And right now, we have spent, and we're expecting a check this week from the county, so that will even be lesser than what we did even prior.
Well, I'm glad we got somebody that's on board and dealing with it, that's used to it.
Right, and we have 3 people. We have
Yeah.
one full and 2 part-times, and they report very regular. We're doing
Good.
My item 2, and the board may want to bring it up in next month's work session, but right now we are looking. I think that Vice Mayor Danny and Roger both mentioned about the county's responsibilities. That is what this interlocal agreement is to do, is put an agreement between the city and the county where they will be responsible for half of the costs. Right now, I don't have anything before you. I talked with Ed Sims this week, and he has had somebody out. It's a possibility we may have it by Tuesday, but if not, we can wait until the December cycle for you all to review, because this will really be in place once we get it permanent services.
I would like more time to review it.
Okay, we can bring it.
Put to just me now, without having right here to look at it right now. I don't want to make a decision on something that quick.
That's fine. We can bring it to the
Me
December
now.
cycle.
The board wants to go ahead, that's all right, but I kind of like to read these interlocal agreements.
That's fine. Yeah, we're not in a rush, so we can wait to December cycle. And I do want to make 3 more comments, if I may. One of the things we are still monitoring the grant, the multimodal grant. Anticipations are that we will know before the December cycle whether we are still in consideration. A lot of awards are expected mid-November, and we are approaching mid-November now. So we are still looking at that daily. So as far as the sidewalks, We are waiting for the winning bidder, Adams Construction, to get their bond paperwork. They're still looking at trying to do, well, they will do the pre-construction meeting in the month of November, but we're waiting for a set time based on receiving the bond documents from Adams Construction, and hopefully they will be back before the end of this week. We mentioned about the meetings. I think Chief Pendergraft mentioned about the police department, and I do want to make a couple comments. The last 2 weeks, I have had the opportunity to meet with the police department, and I really think they were very productive meetings. Last week was a big listening session. I think I noted that probably about 28 concerns that came out of that meeting. I did request that upon my return, which was yesterday, that they set a list of 5 priorities, which they did. They had a spokesperson, very orderly meeting, and those 5 concerns were sent to you all last night, but those were concerns that were expressed by the staff of things we can do. Some of the things we have already started based on the November 1st meeting. We started looking, administration, Pam, Michelle, Monica, Loretta, and I, we sat together this Monday, and we talked about some of their concerns that could be addressed, and we were able to find quite a few compromises on things that we could. Still, a few logistics need to be worked out, but I did report that we're working on that, and I think that satisfied a lot of them. But we're continuing to meet with them and to address Alderwoman Small. I am doing exit interviews, and we're doing very precise interviews where they're very confidential, and we will get a listing of some of their top concerns with those that are exiting. I mean, and there are a variety of concerns. I mean, you can't put them all in one box. We have one tomorrow, and we have been doing them throughout October. So we will make sure the board is, as well as the department head, has liberty to what are their main concerns as far as moving on to other places. In addition to the exit interviews, I have given the police department opportunities to meet with me one-on-one, and many of them have taken a chance to do that, so we're finding even broader concerns. So we're looking at all the concerns and hoping to group them into what is really going on. Also, to address Vice Mayor Bryant, you're correct. You got to find out where the root of the problem is, and I have solicited outside resources because there is tension within the department, and we need to find out what's the cause and what's the resolve. So we're looking at some outside stuff to come in. I have had 2 meetings in the month of October that I'm hopeful will help resolve the issues long term, not just temporarily within the department. Morale is an issue not only within the police department. Morale is an issue citywide. I do want to express it's not only in the police department that we need to work on. We need to work on citywide morale. I'm going to do better in the upcoming months, meeting with departments and trying to hear what their concerns are, and just being there just to be a voice to our employees. We have had a number of employees to leave, not only the police department, but throughout the city. And we got to just recapture what we need to do to build morale. And I'm very sensitive with that. We do have an internal morale committee that's trying to put out some ideas out there, but it's just something we really want to do. I do want to say this, we had 2 aldermen who did express a willingness of wanting to ride with officers, and that was something they asked. So I do want to say, encourage anybody who is willing to do a ride along with officers.
I don't want to get shot at.
Understood.
But the 2 brave ones.
Yeah.
I want to ride with Andy Rodriguez.
They're a target, man. Anybody with that uniform owns a target. I don't want to be nowhere around.
He put me in the back with the dog.
Go for it.
I understand. But just want to say we're really just taking very serious about just making work conditions all the way around as best as we can. And my final just reporting item, I do want to invite the board members. We will have the Central District of the Tennessee City Managers. They will meet here on November 29th. I will send something out to the board members, but this is a luncheon and this is also a case study, but they go to different cities every quarter and talk about different things going on in the city. So Fayetteville will host it at the Human Resource Center on November 29th, and I will send board invitations in case you would like to join us. And it's made up of just city managers throughout the central part of the state. And I entertain any questions that you may have.
Any questions? Okay, then we'll just move on to the final section of this meeting, and it's item number 1 is a proclamation for Family Court Awareness Month for the month of November. I'll be reading this proclamation. On Tuesday night, I was contacted by the National Board of Family Court, and it's very important for our community to be aware of this, so I'll be reading that on Tuesday night. The other 2 items are for information only. And if we have no other questions, this meeting is adjourned.